Sanibona, ngaphambi singene kwivideo namuhla, ngithi angithathe lithuba ngibonge i-support nothando nesikhombise lona lingaphezu kokucabanga kwethu. Siyacela niqhubeke nisupporte njalo ngokubuka amavideo ethu, ungakhohlwa ukukhomenta, ushare, ulike. Siyafisa ukuzwa umbono wakho. Sicela ke singene kwivideo namuhla. This is the message written by Minister Solly Malatsi on his X account. Today we have gazetted the final policy direction on the Equity Equivalent Investment Program in the ICT sector. Following a draft published in May, the purpose of this policy direction is to ensure that the full scope of economic empowerment is properly recognized and applied. We received over 19,000 submissions on the draft, with 90% supporting the policy direction for the regulatory clarity it provides and its potential to expand access to high-speed internet. The final policy direction reinforces regulatory parity. It does not favor any entity, bypass the Electronic Communication Act or weaken transformation. Ukhumbula ukuthi Elon Musk bekafuna i-Starlink okuyikhampani yakhe ye-internet ukuthi ize la eSouth Africa isebenze khona. Kodwa enenkinga yokungafuni ukulandelela imithetho ye-BBBE ukuthi ifuna kube no-30% we-equity ofuneka anikezane ngawe, noma ngingaqondi kahle lokho, kodwa ke yena ubengahambisani nalokho. Kuthe ngoMeyi emveni kokuba upresident wethu our Lord and Savior esebuya e-America nje bayihambe no Johan Rupert nabo Bas John na yonke leli thimba lelayihambe nalo. Minister uSolly Malatsi wayese eza nesu lokuthi ibangasebenzisana neStarlink ngale kokuthi ikhiphe lo 30% okufuneka kwenzeke njengokomthetho we-BBBE. Kwasuka inkulumo eziningi kezehlukahlukeneyo njengoba manje esebhala imessage le kanje. Kanti Elon Musk yena ubhale kanje kwi-Twitter yakhe: South Africa now has more anti-white laws than apartheid had anti-black laws. This is deeply wrong. The goal should be no race-based laws.
Theme here is that, and I'll speak generally now, but the major theme here is that those who have benefited from and live in the world of white privilege still see black progress as a threat.
Yeah.
Unless it's black progress they endorse or black progress that doesn't immediately present as a threat.
Yeah.
But they still do. Once you understand that theme, you realize that that whole narrative against South Africa versus, or the narrative that, Ibrahim Traore is a terrorist, it's actually part of the same school of thought. It's that when we determine our own rules, we're doing something wrong. Yeah. So let me give you the context. By the way, I should say that I respect what Elon has achieved. I deplore his character. I don't like him. Elon Musk is he's a hypocrite. Let's call it what it is. I mean, he has the audacity to tell South Africa that it can't have laws to empower people who are disempowered by law. I should tell you, a law which he was empowered by. His own father, who I debated at Oxford Union, benefited from apartheid by running mines during apartheid, which black people were not allowed to do. So Elon Musk went to school in a Rolls Royce because his dad was benefiting from the system he says we shouldn't have in place. Who does he think he is? Is the first point I want to make. Second point I want to make. Beginning of this year, I was in a country in the Middle East. I won't mention who they are. This country has incredibly harsh restrictions on Twitter. One of Elon Musk's CEO was in the same room with me. In fact, he was set 2 people away from me at this particular conference, raising money for Grok AI from that same country. So let me see if I understand this. Here is a country that limits the use of Elon Musk's technology, but he finds nothing wrong with how this country uses technology, and by the way, uses that technology to surveil its citizens and incarcerate them without trial just because he's getting money from them. Elon Musk's God is money. Once you understand that, you don't have a struggle understanding Elon Musk. He isn't led by principle. He's led by his God, which is money. Why am I saying this? First, we have a law in South Africa called Black Economic Empowerment. It's called Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment. It has had several failings. It's not policy. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But it still has demonstrated signs of success. Communities that have been built by minds who are operating in communities where by law they didn't have to build them. Now the law says if you're operating in that area, you need to do something for the people. You're extracting from their land, do something. These are some of the nuances of this law. So Elon Musk wanted to launch Starlink in South Africa. And and we have an act that governs the telecommunication space, which his technology falls into, which act was very clear. He said, I don't want to give away a percentage of my business. Now, he doesn't have to. We've got multinationals operating in South Africa all the time. Black Economic Empowerment says if you can't do an ownership to black people, then you can do what is called an ownership equivalent. So take the value of your company that you're going to build here. X percentage of it must be benefiting the indigenous local people. If you can't give that in an ownership, then what you'll do is you'll run programs that equal that amount.
Yeah.
Right? That's why we've got every single multinational in South Africa. We've got McDonald's, Ford, KFC, Chrysler, name them. They're in our country. They do business there. And so he wanted this whole thing about, I just want to come in and operate, and I want to write my own rules. The problem with this, and I understood it from the government state, I should tell you, I'm probably one of the most vociferous critics of our government. So there are very few times when I actually agree with them. But I understood their position, which is we either have the law or we don't. And it's either for everybody or it's for nobody. But we can't create special rules because one person has the ear of a man in the White House. That's not the way that that game works. And so I think that they then took that and said, how else can we find a narrative to support this? Then came this farm murder narrative. Okay. If I get impassioned, excuse me. There is no such thing as a white genocide. It doesn't exist. Cut the shit. Exist. Cut the shit. Okay. Because if it did, the universal world of whiteness would have made sure you've seen it.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Donald Trump himself went and presented to Cyril Ramaphosa images of graves in the Congo. He didn't even make sure he had the right intel when he was broadcasting this to the world. So there's no such thing as this white genocide nonsense. That's the first point I want to make. Once the white genocide narrative failed, they switched the narrative. They said, oh, there's no such thing as a white genocide. There are farm murders. And the farmers are white. And they're being targeted. Okay, let's double click on that. The largest by population segment of people in South Africa who suffer murder are black females. Those are the facts. So if there was going to be a genocide cited by a function of sector population, it would be black females. But let's look at this farm murder issue specifically. Even on the farms, the people who die in farms through murder is the highest number is farm laborers, not the farmers, which laborers are predominantly black. So even if we took this farm murder thing and said, let's examine it, it isn't even that, right? So what the real issue here was a whole confluence of geopolitical issues. It was the Israel question and the posture South Africa has taken on the Israel question. It was this Expropriation Act, which has been introduced now around whether or not South Africa will expropriate land at nil compensation. And then it was Elon Musk wanting to launch Starlink into South Africa and getting pushback. And each of the people who were playing, different sides of this football game kind of came together at the same time. And that's where this narrative came up. It just so happened it was the wealthiest man in the world, and he had the means to flare up this narrative and drive it. Even in South Africa today, I should tell you, there are still people who are not for the Reconciliation Project. So it's not as if you land in South Africa, everybody's for the Reconciliation Project. That's why we myself included, take very seriously the responsibility we have to actually build the country. Because I don't know, you do know that there is a town in South Africa where if you are not a specific color and a specific cultural group, you can't live there.
Yeah. I saw that on YouTube the other day.
So if there was a white genocide, how could a town only for those people exist? Surely this is where the genocide would start. That's where it would be targeted. Now, I'm not saying it should do. I don't want to be glib here, but I'm simply making the point. I take strong umbrage when people think we're not intelligent enough to see the games they're playing. Like, really, we can actually see the game. It's not really that smart. Let's have a political argument. Let's have an ideological argument. But at least let's have a good faith argument.
Asikho isidingo sokuchaza le video qeda kuyibona. Kodwa ihambelana nalento enzakala ngoba uVusithembe kwaye wayechaza ukuthi yini la angafuna ukuyenza uElon Musk. And into engiyithandela le video engiqeda kokucaphunela yona ukuthi uyakuveza ukuthi ubaba kaElon Musk ungomunye wama beneficiaries apartheid. Namhlanje makuthiwa sizama ukubulungisa isimo ngoba kunabantu we disadvantage for isikhathi eside, so yingakho kukhona lemthetho BBBE. And noma ama comrade engayisebenzisanga kahle, kodwa mawuyibheka inhloso yayo yayiyinhle, okusho ukuthi uma ingalungiseka le BBBE kuzama ukunqandwa ama comrade isengasebenza ngoba ama comrade wona imoshini. Ngisesekulo lolu daba lika minister lale directive yakhe asizukuyifunda ke yona ngoba kuningi kakhulu okukhunyiwe. Kukhona ngisho statement esiphuma ku-EFF, kukhona statement esiphuma ku-ANC. So ukuze singathathi isikhathi eside sikhulumana nodaba lotho bakufuthi kuse udaba oluqhubekayo mhlawumbe ezoze kugcine lifike eParliament kasazi, kodwa nje ngendlela okuyiyo libukeka liya lapho. So ngaleso sizathu asizukuyifunda le statement okwamanje, kodwa ngenzela ukuthi wazi kwenzakalani. uMahlengi Bhengu spokesperson we-ANC naye uphawulile ngalolu daba ekhulumela i-ANC wakhuluma kanje.
The ANC is deeply concerned by the government gazette issued on 12 December 2025 by the Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies, Mr. Solly Malatsi. The gazette introduces policy directions that exceed the minister's legislative authority. It undermines South Africa's transformation framework and threatens the integrity of our ICT and postal regulatory environment. It mirrors a troubling trend where ministers belonging to the Democratic Alliance seek to bypass Parliament by reforming laws through directives rather than following the democratic legislative process. The ANC calls on Parliament, through the Portfolio Committee on Communications and Digital Technologies, to urgently hold the minister accountable for the legality, intent, and consequences of the Gazette. We further urge ICASA to uphold its statutory obligations and refuse any directive inconsistent with the law.
Sizile kuMahlengi ukuthi enze le voice note ngoba lokho kusekwenza ukuthi singasasifundi statement. Angeke sisasifundi statement se-ANC ngoba lento ebhalwe ku statement ile ayishoyo. Le nje ebhalwe ku statement ile yena sekayishilo, so usesilekelele kakhulu. Ngizamile ukubheka ukuthi akho interview na aba-interview umuntu oyedwa lapha ku-EFF manje ngingadibani nayo. Ukube bengizothola yona bezosilamulela nayo ukuthi singaloku sifundana ne-statement ngoba iyasiza uma umuntu mawubathola bekhuluma bona. Kodwa ke uminister naye ukhulumile ne-SABC mayelana nale directive ayikhiphile namuhla. Ngizocaphuna yena emveni kwalako bese ngicaphuna umama lo Khusela Tiko chairperson we-Portfolio Committee on e-Communication. Ngicela uzwe la.
I mean, these allegations are clearly an expedient agenda to try and dilute the work that we are doing. For some context, in May this year, we issued a policy directive that sought to harmonize regulations between both the provisions of the BBBE Act and also the regulations that were issued by the Independent Communications Authority in 2021, which resulted in a limitation that we believe should not have happened, where it limited the provisions to empowerment to only ownership. That process went through an open public process. We received over 19,000 submissions. Upon further interrogation of those submissions, 15,000 of them were substantive, the other were duplicate submissions. But basically, in very simple terms, Alicia, what we are trying to do here is that when you look at the BBBE Act, which makes provision for equity equivalent investment programs as a pathway for investment in South Africa, you would know that there are companies which, as a result of using the equity equivalent investment programs, have entered and are doing business in South Africa without having had to sell 30% of their ownership. In the ICT sector, for instance, you've got Microsoft, you've got Amazon and IBM who are already doing business in here. So we are saying that the full options of entering the South African market for investments, be it through the 30% ownership aspect or the equity equivalent investment program, should be available at all times. What this will then do is to harmonize that. It is also important to recognize the fact that the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition introduced what are called sector codes. These are codes that are applicable to different industries, be it agriculture, mining, and communications, which potential multinational investors need to abide by in order to invest in the country. Those sector codes clearly articulate that an option to enter the South African market is also through the equity equivalent investment program. The other question, which is important to clarify in dealing with this notion that somehow it's executive overreach, the Electronic Communications Act and the ICASA Act stipulate clearly the powers of the minister and the powers of the authority. The Minister of Communications, whether at this time it's Soli Malatsi or the next time it's Alicia, is empowered to issue policy directives that are consistent with national law. What we are trying to do in here, let me finish the point, Alicia, because it's a key point. What we are trying to do with the policy directive is ensure that there is harmonization of empowerment laws between the provisions of the BBBE Act, which makes provisions for equity equivalent investment programs, and the regulations which were introduced in 2021, which in our interpretation, in our conclusion, exclude that option.
Kukhona otheke umama uKhuseladiko ukuthi akayichaze lento ebhalwe uminister lapha ukuthi isho ukuthini in simple terms. Then nama iphendula kanje, open quotes, no minister can amend legislation via a policy directive. No minister can instruct an independent regulator to act. Worse, to act contrary to the law. In isiXhosa, Mr. Malatsi's action is nothing but ukubuya kukaNxele, dearly held but futile wishful thinking. Michael Jordan wabhala kanjena, if Starlink agrees to provide free connectivity to rural schools, that's better than no connectivity, right? Then why are so many upset about the prospects? Wasephendula kanjena ke yena, non-starter of an argument. Starlink has made public pronouncement, again outside the due process, that they will connect 5,000 schools. This doesn't move the needle in inch when compared to the more than 22,000 schools our mobile network operators who already comply with our transformative laws have committed to and are busy delivering on. Starlink must not undermine our legislation and further must meet the obligation that everyone else in the sector is already delivering on. We need more connectivity, but not at cost to our national development objectives and sovereignty. It was Virgil's Aeneid that reminded us to beware of Greeks bearing gifts. Kwalezi nkulumo zibonayo nalezi besizifunda, i-SABC News iyaxhumana naye umama uKhusela Diko ukuzizwe kahle ukuthi kahle kahle kwenzakalani. Yena-ke wayesephendula kanje.
Bali, I listened to the minister with utter disbelief. I think if anything that he was saying was true, then we would not be here this evening. The reality of the matter is that the minister has issued policy directives which are instructing ICASA, as per his initial proposed policy directives, to circumvent 30% BEE in the awarding of licenses for electronic communication services. Now, our view, or maybe let me say my view as the Portfolio Committee chairperson on communications, as well as the view of the African National Congress, which has deployed me, is that the minister's action is not only undesirable, but it is also unlawful. These are issues that we have raised with the minister repeatedly. This minister has demonstrated that indeed he is a legal delinquent. He has no regard for due process. He has no regard for existing legislation. And why we are saying that, the minister has mounted a very spirited attack against BEE laws. And I think all of us will understand that the party that he represents, Mr. Malatsi, the party that he represents is very opposed to the transformation agenda of this country. And they would want nothing more to ensure that BEE is disregarded and no longer forms part of our laws. And I think this attempt to bring in Starlink by stealth is just but one of the salvos that they're willing to fire against redress, equity, and ensuring that Black people are able to participate in the economy meaningfully. So we've rejected those policy directives. We're calling for their immediate withdrawal, failing which we're calling for ICASA as an independent, and it's important that we emphasize, as an independent communications authority of South Africa to apply its mind to what he is asking them to do, which is unlawful in our view. And we hope that their conscience is going to ensure that they reject those demands from the minister.
Fisuqaphana lengxenye ezophendula ngoba uthe uminister kuselungelweni lakhe njengominister ukuthi akhiphe directive le ayikhiphile, kuselungelweni lakhe nanokuthi bakhulumile nabantu bathola response about 19,000 abantu abaphendulile. So ngifisa ukumcaphuna lapho. Iyangithusa kakhulu indaba ama-directive namhlanje kunamadlanga commission ngoba kunominister owakhipha i-directive ngomhla ka-31. Manje uma ngabe kunama-directive kanje ayangithusa, awangephi ukuthula ngoba namhlanje kune-commission ehleli ngenxa leso sizathu. Cela uzwe la.
Let me start here, Mbali, and maybe explain why they're unlawful. You know, there's he hides behind, and I want to say that he obfuscates. He tries to confuse the law. He tries to insist that a statutory interpretation that we differ on, where it says that where it says that anybody seeking a license for electronic communication services must have a minimum of 30% equity ownership by historically disadvantaged persons, or any other conditions, or an increase in the 30% BEE. So he's using that word "or" to indicate that you may do away with the 30%. Now, anybody who's got an inkling of statutory interpretation will know that law is not read in isolation, it's read within context. There is no way that the legislator's intent would have been to say, you have a minimum of 30%, or you can increase 30%, or any other conditions if that 30% was not mandatory. So that's the first starting point. Now, what we are prepared to do as Parliament is that we're going to convene a meeting early in the year where we are going to appraise the committee of these developments and obviously ask the minister to brief us. As I said before, this is not the first time we are going to be doing it, but we are dealing with a minister who seems very intent on undermining Parliament, very intent on undermining the law. We have sought to understand whether a policy directive, which is of such huge import, he's even brought it before Cabinet for consideration. While it's not a requirement, we would think that something of this nature, which seeks to tamper with the laws of this country, he would have at least sought the wisdom of his collective. It seems that he has not done that here either. Now, what we're going to do is to impress upon the minister that in this country, there's a sanctity of the doctrine of separation of powers. Where he does not understand the law, as it's clear that he is not understanding the law, he may seek a declaratory order from our courts, which are there for that purpose, to assist him with statutory interpretation, which seems to be confounding him. or alternatively, where he is committed to undermining transformation in this country, to reversing the gains of our democracy, and ensuring that Black people are not able to participate meaningfully in the ICT sector, then he must change the law. And to do that, he's going to need to come to Parliament. There is no other way that the minister is going to achieve what he wants to do without following due process. So we will be engaging with him on that matter and really seeking to understand the basis upon which he thinks that he can instruct ICASA. I do want to put it on record, Mbali, that the independence of ICASA, the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa, is one of the hard-won victories of this democracy. And the DA, by the way, was one of the parties that fought successive ministers of the ANC to ensure the independence of ICASA. And, it's put to a test today where a minister of the DA, it pains me to even call him a minister of the DA because the DA has been so intent to tell us that he is not our minister, he is their minister, so he doesn't represent all of us in this country. He only represents their constituency, and I think that's very clear, even by these directives that he's issued. But they need to understand that independence is guaranteed by the Constitution, and we are going to also ask ICASA to brief us on the approach that they're willing to take on this matter because they've already voiced their opposition to this.
And Ms. Diko, before I let you go, you are saying that, you've dealt with this even in Parliament, but he was also saying to us here in SABC today that there was a consultation process done. Were these issues also addressed during those submissions?
Mbali, he went out on a public consultation process in May of 2025. He claims that he got 19,000 submissions on that process. And we were extremely shocked. We've been doing this for 30 years. There has never been any legislation, any policy regulation that gets as much as 19,000 submissions. So we are very skeptical of those submissions as well. We will be calling on him, I think, as the ANC study group, but also as the portfolio committee, to make those submissions public. I don't think there's anything wrong with that process, where he's able to say to South Africans, these are the people, these are the organizations that said to me, let me do away with Black economic empowerment. Let me ensure that the ICT sector is not transformed. And we look forward to reviewing those particular submissions.
All right.
ngoMay wathi akayixegisi lemthetho ngoba enzele iStarlink kuvele kwaqondana nje coincidence yena nje ngokwakhe ubengahlelanga ukuthi kube njengoba kunje. Kodwa ke ngendlela okwenzeka ngayo, indlela abhala ngayo ama-tweet u-Elon Musk nangendlela uminister enza ngayo, uminister ukhipha i-directive, Elon Musk ubhala i-tweet le same day, kuyakhombisa ukuthi kukhona okushaya amanzi ngoba ubazi ukuthi lento bazoyi-oppose. I-EFF ke nayo iphawulile ngalolu daba. Ngakho-ke sizofunda istatement sayo. Ngicabanga ukuthi istatement sokugcina asezukufaka video, asezukufaka enye inkulumo. Sofunda nje le statement bese siyayivala ivideo ngoba ngibona nayo sehamba isikhathi eside. Kodwa ke ayikho into ebengizoyenza ngoba ngeke ngikwazi ukwenza ama-video amabili ahlukene ngalolu daba. Unless lu daba seliqhubeka sekukhulunywa ngenye indlela okanye sekukhulunywa okunye. Statement i-EFF isikhiphe ngeSaturday ngomhla ka-13 December 2025. Isihloko sithi EFF condemns unlawful government gazette by Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies to allow Starlink in South Africa. Sifundeka kanje. The Economic Freedom Fighters EFF has noted and condemns the attempts by Minister of Communication and Digital Technologies Solly Malatsi to utilize a ministerial policy directive to subvert South African laws in order to allow the SpaceX and Elon Musk owned Starlink to operate in our country. In an obvious attempt to avoid the Parliament of South Africa, which is where the necessary amendments to achieve his mischief should be processed, Malatsi has presumed upon himself the powers to implement what is substantively an amendment to the Electronic Communications Act and the ICT Sector Code. He has done this through a ministerial policy directive, which allows foreign satellite network to operate to bypass BEE ownership requirement using equity equivalence. The ridiculous policy directive means that companies such as Starlink will no longer need to comply with the 30% local ownership requirements, which protect our local telecommunications industry, and this could be substituted by less transformative substitutes that don't speak to ownership, such as mere donation of Musk infrastructure as he deems fit. In doing this, Malatsi is using a policy directive as method to circumvent the law-making powers of Parliament. The attempt to coerce the Independent Communication Authority of South Africa, ICASA, to comply with this illegal instruction, which is not consistent with the ECA and ICT sector code, is a clear undermining of ICASA's institutional autonomy. The EFF has had numerous engagement with the mobile network operators and interest group with the telecommunications industry, who have all confirmed our concern that Starlink poses a threat to jobs in the industry due to its remote operational nature. Even greater, it poses a security concern considering the hostility of Elon Musk against our nation. For an unrepentant racist and megalomaniac like Elon Musk to enter the telecommunications market in South Africa, granting him possible control of infrastructure in the long term is irresponsible. In a Portfolio Committee of Communications and Digital Technologies meeting held on the 27th of May 2025, wherein Malatsi was called to account when he first made these proposals, ICASA itself expressed its discomfort on the legality of the minister's directive, while the minister fumbled and evaded direct questions on the legality of his attempts. It is clear that minister in the GNU utilized the festive period to engage in unlawful activities and to undermine our constitutional democracy. If it is not the ANC minister Senzo Mchunu unilaterally dissolving the political killings task team on New Year's Eve, it is DA Minister Solly Malatsi gazetting policy directives to ICASA so that Elon Musk, who lies about genocide in South Africa to leverage business interest, can get access to our telecommunications industry. The EFF warned Malatsi that if he and the DA have already made guarantees to Musk, whether to secure funding or support them from the fascist Trump administration, then they will have to go back and return whatever illicit resources they secured with the promise of trading South Africa's sovereignty. The EFF will pursue all mechanisms in Parliament, in the courts, and on the streets to ensure that his illegal directives are not implemented. The EFF calls on ICASA to refuse to implement what is overreach into the regulatory space by minister who has sold his souls to the highest bidder and want to sell our country along with it. Sibambekele video la. Usuzuleke nestatement esikhishwe i-EFF. Bengifuna ukucover yonke into eshiwo namuhla mayelana nalolu daba ukuze sizongwazi ukuthi ngikwethulela inkulumo ephelele. Ingakho ngithe ivideo noma ingayinde kancane kodwa uma ngikhave yonke into. Kwi-statement esibhalwe uminister, inkulumo kaVusithembe kwayo mayelana no-Elon Musk, ipost yakho Elon Musk, i-interview yakhe abenayo uminister, amaposti kaMama uKhusela Diko ne-interview yakhe ayenzile. Konke lokhu ngekhava kanye nestatement se-EFF. So ngijabulile nje uma ngibona amanye ama-political party ngathi awalibonanga lolu daba noma asemaholideyini awakabhali. Ukube bebebhalile ngalolu daba besizolikhava nangabo. Sizolinda-ke sizwe ukuthi ukuqhubeka kwey'nsuku bathini ngalolu daba, kodwa sesiyazi ukuthi uma livula nje iPhalamende nantu udaba. Njengoba ngisho nje ukuthi sengiyawasaba ama-directives manje. Kune-commission, kune-ad hoc committee ngenxa nje ye-directive yakhishwa uminister ngomhla ka-31. Namhlanje kuphuma i-directive yesibili. Khishwa uminister, yabona kuyakhulunywa, kuyaphithizelwa. Bathi it's unlawful. ANC ne-EFF bakhuluma ngazwilinye bathi it's unlawful. Uminister yena uthi no, kusemthethweni, kuselungelweni lakhe njengominister. Asazi-ke, asazi, sozwa khona. Mina nawe sidibane kwividiyo elandelayo. Ngale kwalokho ungakhohlwa ukusubscribe, ucomment, ushare, ulike.